Cushing's Bookshelf, Episode 4, The Art of the Novel by Milan Kundera. And welcome back to Cushing's Bookshelf. This is a show where every week I pull something off my bookshelf and talk to you about it and why I feel it's important. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing shows about writing advice books. And the book I'm going to be pulling off here shortly is not, technically speaking, a writing advice book. It's not kind of a how-to. It doesn't really take on the mantle of offering advice, but it's a very talented author talking about their craft. And so without any further ado, allow me to pull out from the bookshelf The Art of the Novel by Milan Kundera. Yes, love this art too. The cover art is kind of fun. But what can I say about The Art of the Novel by Milan Kundera? First of all, for my audience, a lot of horror people, if you're wedded to a very plot-driven, fast-paced kind of action-adventure sort of book, as far as writing, as far as that's the kind of writing that you want to do, you may not find this as helpful. But if you're open to using some of the techniques of so-called literary fiction, for lack of a better word, then this will probably be helpful to you. And the reason I say that is that Kundera's approach is very rooted in the history of the novel, especially the European history of the novel, and going back to the roots of the novel and from the days of Cervantes and Don Quixote, and really thinking about what makes a novel a novel. What is there about the art form of the novel that makes it unique? And according to Kundera, part of what makes it unique is that it's not a dogmatic or didactic kind of art form. It's not trying to teach us anything, really. It's more about depicting life and capturing the texture of existence, and using characters to do that. And I was impressed when I read one of Kundera's novels, and I had not read him before a couple of years ago. And I read that novel, and then it was like, it blew me away. And I wanted to read nonfiction by him because I thought, well, this book blew me away, and I'd like to read about how this guy achieved some of the effects that he achieved. And this was very enlightening about what he was doing, talking about what he calls the polyphonic novel, a novel that uses it can use metafiction, or it can use kind of quasi-pseudo nonfiction in there too, to kind of have this playful joining of voices. So you have like a harmony emerge between all these different streams of approaches tackling a common theme. And that's the best I can describe it right now. Encourage you to read this. And I'm going to see if there's a quote I can pull out. This thing is, I'll show you, it's like constantly underlined, like every other page. Not every, almost every page has something on here that I've underlined, because I just find his approach incredibly helpful. So can I pick one? You know what? I will. Okay, this is him talking about character, for example, off of page 35 of The Art of the Novel. And he says, making a character alive means getting to the bottom. Let me try this again. Making a character alive means getting to the bottom of his existential problem, which in turn means getting to the bottom of some situations, some motifs, even some words that shape him. Nothing more. And it's a different kind of look at characterization than what we typically get in horror novels, for example. And certainly when I was putting together my most recent novel, which has found a publisher, and I have signed a contract for it, but I just can't talk about it yet. But when I was preparing that book, when I was writing that book, I was influenced by this. And so maybe I'll talk about that more when the time comes. But I wanted to share this with y'all because I thought it was pretty nifty. So that's the show for this week. And I will see you again next Tuesday.